AM 1140, Southern Alberta's community radio station, now presents another edition of Gospel Road.
I welcome you to this Heritage Day weekend edition of Gospel Road. I'm Lary Heather, your host for the next 2 weeks. Today, in line with our heritage theme, I would like to reflect upon the responsibilities of fathers in our society and highlight a unique DVD release that provides much food for thought in this area. Entrusted With Arrows, Entrepreneurial Homeschool Fathers is a new June 2010 release by MovieMakers of Airdrie, Alberta. With me in the AM 11 studio today in High River are Greg and Dallas Lemmerman. This father and son team has since 2007 combined their talents and vision to produce educational and documentary DVDs on a variety of topics. Their latest release, Entrusted With Arrows, has just been nominated as an official selection for general screening at the Christian Film Fest in Phoenix, Arizona, coming up in just 3 weeks' time. And this out of a competition of some 300 films that were entered into the contest. Before we talk with Greg and Dallas, let's hear the opening DVD music theme composed by Andre Forbes and the opening collage of comments from the 5 fathers who were interviewed for the project.
Working as a state trooper, I wasn't able to spend the time with my children that I really wanted to spend with them.
That I had listened to a program, I think it was by James Dobson, and one of the things he said in there that dads on average spend about 7 minutes with their kids each week. And that really convicted me because that's what I had been doing.
I wasn't able to really put the time into teaching the children like I wanted to or like I should have.
I found that my children, my oldest son especially, was beginning to be a follower.
We've always felt that our children were the most important disciples in our life.
But he had so many other demands on his life that kept him from really being able to understand where all of us were at.
A lot of times I was working 12 to 16-hour days. A lot of days and weeks I was away. I was sent away to other parts of the state to work. So I'd be gone sometimes for days and weeks at a time.
I was so busy spending time with everybody else's family and their children, teaching and so on. I was so tired I didn't have time for my own kids.
He wanted time off when the baby was going to come, and the boss said, well, women have babies. You know, that's the women's department. You come to work.
A lot of men, even homeschool dads, don't take much action in their kids' homeschooling.
The Lord put it on both of Lisa and my heart to make ourselves more available for them.
That was a catalyst that led me to think, well, what should I do? How should I approach this? What can I do to change?
I began to really feel a burden to come home many years before I did, and so we made the plans and started working on an exit strategy from the state.
Welcome back to this Entrusted With Arrows edition of Gospel Road. You just heard a few of the guest interviewees that were contained within this DVD. My guests today are Greg and Dallas Lemmerman, father and son team from Airdrie, Alberta, who formed the enterprise called MovieMakers. We are here today to talk about their newly released June 2010 DVD, Entrusted With Arrows, Entrepreneurial Homeschool Fathers. You just heard the opening collage of 5 fathers who were interviewed. Welcome to Gospel Road, Greg and Dallas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg, tell us a little about how your parents came to be in Alberta and a little bit about your past career of 30 years as a public school teacher.
Well, my father was always in Bible college work, and in the States in Seattle, which is where my early years were, he was a professor at Puget Sound College of the Bible. And in 1967, which was in a bygone era, my father was called to be president of Alberta Bible College here in Calgary. And here, 43 years later, we're still living here. My father's passed on in the year 2001. He was president of the college from 1967 to 1984. And as far as my career goes, I spent 30 years as a teacher in the public school system, Calgary Board of Education, teaching primary grades. I had a special heart for young children. Started with grade 3, always wanted to teach grade 1. There was something magical about that. I was one of those rare breeds who was a male teaching grade 1. Spent about 20 years teaching grade 1 and 2.
Right. And how is it that as a public school teacher, you came to have children homeschooled by your wife, Shauna? What benefits have you gained from seeing both sides of the educational options spectrum?
Well, you ask hard questions. That was a sort of a journey we went on, and I could take a lot of your time telling that journey. Shauna herself was homeschooled by her parents, and actually they helped form the Koinonia group of schools which started in Didsbury. And so homeschooling was always something that was an option for Shauna. I, as a public school teacher, was not quite open to that. I could see as a teacher that the influence of other children was not something I wanted my children to have in a public school, so we agreed on a Christian school. And Dallas here began his kindergarten career in a Christian school and part of grade 1. Partway through grade 1, we found that that was not working well for him. Again, I don't want to get into details and personalities, but the teacher he had did not see some of the learning difficulties he was having and put it down to behavior, and we knew that wasn't the case. And so we brought him home midway grade 1 and have never regretted that decision.
Wow, that is awesome. And I'm sure there's other homeschoolers out there that are listening in, and people that are considering, even as early as this fall, about putting their kids into a homeschool program. Talk to your son now. Dallas, what has it been like to be homeschooled after only your first year in a Christian school?
Wonderful. The experience in the school system developed some fairly strong feelings in me about the whole thing. So I'll try not to get too much into that. But just coming home and being able to be home it's just been really good. I don't think I would have done very well if that hadn't happened.
And do you feel that you have missed out on anything when you talk with other Christian youth who have taken either the Christian or the public system?
Absolutely not. I kind of feel like they're missing out on a lot, actually. So, yeah, no, I don't think there's anything to be missed. There's only things to be gained.
Dallas, how is it that your love for movie making developed over these past few years?
A lot of things come together to build into something they want to do. I've always liked arts and all the different kinds of arts, singing, dancing, writing, acting, and film just kind of brings them all together. And I can't remember, when I was 16, filmmaking became an option suddenly in my mind as something viable that I looked as started watching films and going, I think I could do that.
Right. And what place does Christian filmmaking festivals have in developing your interest and skills, Dallas?
Some Christian film festivals that we've been to, San Antonio Independent Christian Film Festival, for example, has had a huge impact on the way I've been approaching it lately. They have a vision that they talk about a lot, and it has taken basically what I wanted to do with film but couldn't put into words, and they put it into words and then added to it in a more skilled way than I was skilled at the time. That came out weird, but yeah.
That's great. Greg, in the introduction to your narration, you asked the audience, what is the fruit of our culture of experts? We're going to hear a bit of the answer to that, but before we hear some statistics in an upcoming excerpt, what is the build-up to this question of experts? Why do you call us a culture of experts?
Well, something that has really been coming to my mind and God's been laying on my heart in the last number of years is how fragmented the family has become in our society and within our churches. We tend to think that we as parents need to do the best for our children by giving them to other people. I think parents probably feel inadequate in some senses of being able to give to their children what they think they need. And so just public schooling is one perfect example. Parents who don't think they're able to give their children an education that they deserve will give that over to other people. In the church, we see that in Sunday school, we see it in youth group, and I'm not condemning those things, don't get me wrong, but I think in a lot of cases, parents abdicate their responsibility to others, and also time fragmentation of the family. People are going different directions and not living in community the way God designed.